let's assume that a hacker managed to gain access to an online store, things like Jumia, things like Temu, and a lot of them. And at the process of trying to place an order, this attacker used some tools like BuzzSuit and the rest of them, which I'm going to make a video on that on a separate day. And then change the prices of that commodity they want to buy. If he wants to buy a wristwatch and the wristwatch is about 100,000 naira, a hacker may decide to gain access to the website at the back end and then change 100,000 naira to be 1,000 naira and then place an order. Yes, it is very, very much possible to do that. So instead of buying the wristwatch at the price of 100,000 naira, the attacker may decide to go and then alter the price of that commodity and maybe buy it at the price of 1 or 10,000 naira based on what he has configured. And that is integrity. And the last one is availability. Availability means making sure that in as much as this data is confidential and in as much as this data needs integrity, this data also needs to be available. Because in cybersecurity, the higher the confidentiality, the lower the availability. Let me break it down for you. If I am building a website, because I am also a web developer, if I am building a website and the number of authentication or the number of security checks I put in place will deprive a lot of people that availability. So let's take a look at this example. In coding, because I am also a coder, in coding, if you prepare or build a website and there are some places or some things you put in place for debugging purposes. So if you put the strict security measures, and what if one of the users of that website one day somehow forgot his password and you have not provided a room for forget password, that will become a complete disaster to that person. So in as much as security is important, there must be a meeting point, a place where comfort and security will meet, because the higher the security, the lower the availability. Because if security is too high, that information or data will not be available to a lot of people. And the last one I also want to add, although this one is not in the curriculum of cybersecurity, you will hardly find it in cybersecurity, I just want to put it here. It's known as non-repudiation. Non-repudiation means the process of checks and balance while handling information, or let me say the system of holding people accountable for their action while handling information. Let's take a look at this example. If you are someone in Nigeria, there was an issue last year when one lady or one girl from Anambra State known as Nesoma wrote jam, and at the process of trying to check his jam, he altered the jam and then was trying to log in. So after he published this information online that she is the highest scholar of jam as of that year, Jam came out to counter it. Nesoma stood her ground to tell Jam in face that he printed that result on Jam portal. Jam said no, this result does not emanate in our own portal, and Nesoma stood her ground until when Jam decided to go to their website and brought out all the information, all the logins that Nesoma was trying to log in every bit. After 5 minutes, she will try to log in. The system will bounce her back. After another 10 or 1 hour, she then tried to log in again, and the system tried to bounce her back. So if you have a system, if you have an app, if you have a website, anytime you are trying to log in that system, the system is capturing those login attempts, so that one day, if you come back to deny that you are not the one that did the transaction or did the action, the tracks are there to counter your allegation. Let's assume that you have a bank application. Most of us uses bank, right? So I use my phone to log into my own bank application and I make a transaction of 100,000 naira. So the following day, I go to the bank and ask the bank that I was not the one that did this transaction. 100,000 naira was removed from my account. I don't know. The banks will then go to the database and check. From there, they will be able to tell me that by so time, 3 o'clock yesterday, you instituted this login and you instituted this transaction. So no repudiation helps people to hold accountable. So in our next video, we'll be talking about bit by bit or step by step on how to prevent or mitigate cyber attacks. If you have watched this video to this point, I will urge you to consider giving it a thumbs up for more updates. See you in my next video.